Okay, so for this second lesson, we're going to have a look at the volume of a cone. So the first thing we need to know is what is the formula for the volume of a cone? And we're going to work this out in the exact same way we did volume of any pyramid. So remember, the volume of a pyramid is equal to 1/3 the area of the base times the height. Now in this case, we know the area of the base is a circle for a cone, so we're going to fill that in with the actual area of a circle, which is pi times the radius squared, and then we would multiply that by the height. So we get this nice formula here. Volume is 1/3 pi times radius squared times height. Okay, so in order to use the formula, you need to know two variables. You need to know the radius of the cone and you need to know the height, and that is this perpendicular height here, okay, not to be confused with the slant height, which we talked about when we were looking at the surface area of a cone. Okay, so in this question here, it says a given cone has a volume of 1,450 centimeters cubed and a radius of 10 centimeters. So we want to find the height of the cone. So first of all, let's fill in what we've been given. So we've been given the volume. So V is equal to 1,450. That's equal to 1/3 times pi times the radius, which is 10, squared times the height. Okay, and I've got to solve for h. So we need to use a little bit of algebra here. So first thing I'm going to do is, I hate working with fractions, so I'm going to get rid of that fraction, and I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. So times that side by 3 and times that side by 3. That's going to cancel out the 1/3 for me. So on the left hand side, I've got 4,350. And that's going to be equal to pi times 10 squared. Now 10 squared I know is 100. So I'm going to just write that as 100 pi times h. Now I'm trying to solve for h, so that's a variable I'm going to isolate for. So I'm going to divide both sides by 100 pi. And that will leave me with just h on the right-hand side. So if I cancel those two out, I now have 4,350 divided by 100 pi. I'm going to put that into my calculator to get my height. And in this case here, I get a height of 13.8 centimeters. Okay, so in part B, it says, assuming it's an open cone, so there's no base, what is the surface area of the cone? Well, we found in the other video that the surface area of a cone is pi r squared plus pi r s, which is the slant height. Okay, but we're told here that there's no base. Okay, and remember, pi r squared is the area of the base, so we would take that part out. So for this question, our surface area would just be pi times the radius times the slant height. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using. Now we know the radius in the question was 10 centimeters, but we don't know what s is. We can use our height to help us. So the slant height, if you remember, we can get by using Pythagoras theorem, and it's always going to be the square root of the height squared plus the radius squared. Okay, and we can see that because if we draw a right angle triangle here, the height of the triangle is h and the base of the triangle is our radius. Okay, so to work out the slant height, I'm going to do the square root of the height, which is 13.8. That's what I found in part A, plus the radius squared, so plus 10 squared. And again, I'll put that right in my calculator, and I get a slant height of 17.1 centimeters. Okay, so now I can use that to work out my surface area. Sorry, my working out is a little bit messy here. But my surface area is now pi times the radius, which is 10, times the slant height, which is 17.1. So in this case here, I get the surface area being 536.6 centimeters squared. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. You guys can go on and try. There's just a couple of word problems for you to try in the independent practice.